Welcome to the explainer on the one resource literally none of us can buy more of on Amazon, no matter how hard we try, time. Today we're exploring a really fascinating intersection of history, psychology, and our modern digital culture. We're going to look at how we humans interact with time, how that relationship has just drastically mutated over the centuries, and why it feels like our days are slipping through our fingers faster than ever before. We've pulled together some absolutely incredible insights to give you a totally new perspective on that clock ticking away in the background of your life. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the 30,000-day life, the forgotten ancient night, why time seems to speed up, escaping into alternate realities, and finally, how to make those moments actually count.
All right, let's start with section 1, the 30,000-day life.
To truly get a grip on our relationship with time, we have to look at the life design research from Productive Peter. 30,000. Honestly, it doesn't seem impossibly large, does it? Like, if that were dollars, we're just talking about the price of a modest new car. But that is the average number of days a human being actually lives, roughly 82 years. When you quantify a whole lifespan into just days, it kind of stops feeling like this endless horizon and starts looking like a very finite, countable jar of marbles. Every single time you go to sleep, you subtract one. Which leads us to the absolute most important question. How are you spending them? Because when you know the total count is only 30,000, the weight of a random, mundane Tuesday suddenly feels a whole lot heavier. Are those days being intentionally lived, or are they just passing by on autopilot? Hold on to that feeling, because to really understand why we struggle with this today, we have to look backwards.
Moving on to section 2, the forgotten ancient nights.
Let's move to and see how this builds, relying on some historical deep dives by our source, Zen. To understand ourselves, we gotta look at how our ancestors experienced their hours. For 99.9% of human history, darkness was absolute. I mean, pitch black. Around 300,000 years ago, the Campfire Revolution gave us about 30 feet of light, which was a massive game changer. It transformed us from terrified prey into social storytellers. But beyond that little circle of light, impenetrable darkness. It literally wasn't until 1667 that Paris introduced widespread street lighting, and now we're right in the thick of the smartphone era, bathed in blue light 24/7. We completely conquered the night in just a tiny, tiny fraction of our evolutionary history.
And because of that historical darkness, human biology developed a completely different rhythm than what we have today. Nowadays, we absolutely obsess over the modern 8-hour block of continuous sleep. We treat it like the ultimate health goal. But pre-industrial humans, they didn't sleep like that at all. Without artificial light, they just went to bed when the sun went down. This led to what's called biphasic sleep, basically sleeping in two very distinct phases, a first sleep and a second sleep. So right between that first and second sleep was a period known as the watch. This was this incredibly mysterious, meditative window of midnight wakefulness. For an hour or two in the pitch black, ancient humans would wake up, stoke the fire, reflect, or honestly just exist peacefully before drifting off for their second sleep. And modern science is actually just rediscovering this. So hey, if you ever wake up at 2 a.m. feeling wide awake, your body isn't broken. Seriously, it's just an evolutionary memory of the watch. Our biology is remembering a much slower time, while our modern world just relentlessly demands unbroken productivity.
Okay, section 3, why time is speeding up.
So why exactly does the modern world make the years feel like they're flying by? Productive Peter points to a really fascinating neurological concept called the time unit paradox. Have you ever noticed how childhood's summer holidays felt like they lasted an absolute lifetime, but now a whole year just vanishes in a blink? Well, your brain is a super efficient machine. Back in childhood, everything is brand new, so your brain is constantly recording these rich, high-definition memories. But as you age and settle into routines, the exact same commute, same job, same meals, your brain just stops recording to save energy. This causes time blindness. The days literally vanish because your brain didn't think they were novel enough to jot down. So the crucial point is that this neurological time blindness comes with a pretty severe emotional cost. Look at this community poll of over 700 respondents asking which emotion is winning right now. The results are kind of striking. People are not feeling peaceful. A massive chunk report feeling numb, anxious, or just totally overstimulated. When your brain skips right over your daily routine, but your environment is constantly demanding your attention with emails and notifications, you end up trapped right between numbness and overstimulation. The days just blur together, yet somehow every single individual minute feels stressful.
Moving right along to Section 4, escaping into alternate realities.
When reality feels like this nonstop blur of overstimulated, time-scarce routine, we naturally start looking for the nearest exit. We found some fascinating evidence of this over in the digital landscape from the channel My Chaotic Stories. Millions of people are tuning in just to watch hypothetical extremes. We're talking salaries scaling from $16,000 all the way up to $10 million a year, or passive income making these wild jumps to $1.2 million a month. And the thing is, these aren't financial education tools. It's pure digital escapism. They gamify reality. When our 30,000 days feel rigidly scheduled and locked in, we soothe ourselves by fantasizing about a life where unlimited passive income can basically buy back our time.
And wow, do these fantasies reach absolute extremes, like hypothetical scenarios involving $100 billion. Think about it. What if you had $100 billion, but you only had 24 hours to spend it all? It's the ultimate collision of infinite resources and finite time. See, we know our time is limited to a 24-hour day, exactly like our lifespan is limited to 30,000 days. But we so desperately want to cram this infinite billionaire-level amount of experience, novelty, and value into that tiny ticking window. Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, Making Every Moment Count. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that we can't actually buy more time, right? And fantasizing about billions of dollars definitely won't change our biology. So how do we actually cure this time blindness? And don't worry, these aren't your typical wake up at 4 a.m. and grind kind of tips. These are backed by real neuroscience. Step 1, break your routines. Literally, take a different route to work. Force your brain to wake up and start recording again. Step 2, seek novelty. A weekend trip to somewhere entirely new literally feels longer in your memory than a weekend binge watching on the couch, simply because your brain captures new data. And step 3, actively create. Treat time as an experience you build yourself, not just some schedule you're forced to endure. To really cement this whole idea, let's listen to the ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca from his essay On the Shortness of Life. He wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." I mean, that is just profound. We just looked at cutting-edge neuroscience and modern digital data, and it all loops right back to this piece of ancient wisdom. The tragedy isn't the 30,000-day limit itself. The tragedy is letting those precious days skip by unrecorded because we just got numb to the routine. Time isn't just a river that passes you by while you stand helplessly on the riverbank. You are actively creating your experience of it, right inside your own mind. You can stretch it out with new experiences, or you can shrink it down with endless, unbroken routines. The choice is entirely yours. Knowing that you have roughly 30,000 days, and knowing exactly how your brain records them, how are you going to create yours today? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it completely changes the way you look at the clock.